Well, hello everybody. Long time no see. Trucker Todd here, and it's finally time for another live video. I didn't know what to call tonight's show. It's not a Tuesday Trucker Talk, and it's not an in case you missed it on Thursdays. So let me get everything going here. I'm a little rusty at this. I hadn't done this in a while. And then I figured I'd catch everybody up on what's been going on. And of course, like always, we'll get to your comments and see kind of what everybody's been up to. Having a little bit of technical issues already. Let's start off by saying hi to the channel members. Believe it or not, we've still got 5 of them. I'm working on some content right now for these guys, probably reviewing trucking companies and things like that. We've got, starting with the oldest channel member, is Robbie Ross, then it's Keith, then it's Ramon, then it's Adam, and then it's Michael. So I want to thank y'all for that. If you've got some curiosity about becoming a channel member, from what I'm told, there's a little $sign down by where you put a comment, and you can go there and get more information about becoming a channel member. I think you can also do super chats and all of that there. If I'm mistaken about that, somebody correct me in the comments, please. It's been kind of a whirlwind few weeks. I know that I wanted to hit the ground running in January. And business-wise, truck driving-wise, I've done that. I've ran really hard. I had a really good month. Got a call from Scott today about it. But as far as putting out videos, it's been really difficult to do. Usually I'm running hard during that time, or just not able to put one together. For the past 2 weeks, maybe even a little longer, I've been super sick, and I'm still a little congested and under the weather, but I'm a lot better than what I have been. And so anyway, let me get to the channel members, and then we'll kind of get the show started. Not sure how many people are going to be here tonight. This was kind of an impromptu video that nobody saw coming, including me. Oh, I already read the channel members. See what I mean? I'm scatterbrained. Let me drink a little caffeine and we'll jump in. So one thing I'm noticing on the YouTubes and at the truck stops is the flip-flop wearing inconsiderate truck drivers that are out on the road now. Some of you would say it's the younger generation. Some of you would say that it's the truck drivers from other countries that haven't assimilated to our cultures and ways of doing things. I would say it's probably a little bit of both. But I'm seeing a lot of just a me first attitude when you're backing into a spot. Guys coming up and crowding you where you can't get in, or guys parking in the fuel island, or guys blocking you in parking places. You have to wake them up to get them to move so you can get out. And so I just, I know it's been going this way for a while, but it just seems like that the trucking culture is definitely not going in the right direction. As far as loads, the rates are getting better. I'm doing income videos right now, and I'm showing when I came back to SRO, and they're nothing to brag about. The numbers are nothing to brag about, but it's just me being honest with y'all. On the flip side of that, whenever we get into January and I start showing you those weeks, then you guys are going to think I'm bragging. So December wasn't a great month for me. It probably wasn't a great month for a lot of you. January is a lot better, and I'm just playing catch up now. But speaking of not having great months, one thing that blows my mind still is super ego. And I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but why in the world would anybody in this day and age go to work there? Now, I realize I'm contradicting myself, because I've said pick the worst company out there, and there's somebody there that's doing well. And I believe that for them too. there is probably somebody that is doing well there. However, Google them. You'll be hard pressed to find a good review for them. Talk to drivers at truck stops. First, you'll be hard pressed to find a driver that speaks English, but if you do, you'll be hard pressed to find one that has anything good to say about the company. Now, back in the early 2000s, and I guess it still happens now, a lot of people went to Prime, and it was well known that you weren't going to make great money there, but you were going to drive nice equipment. And a lot of the guys that went there back then didn't have a home, and they basically lived on the truck. And so they said, hey, I can afford a little bit of a pay cut to have the nicer equipment. Back then, the trucks ran 75. Later, they turned them down to 70, but then you could take a class and they'd turn them up to 75. Basically, in the class, they would try to talk you out of going fast. They'd talk about how much fuel you'd save, how much better it was for the equipment, how much safer it was. And then after the basically 8 hours of brainwashing, they would turn the truck up to 75. But when you go to Super Ego, they don't even have nice equipment. They have base model Freightliners and Volvos. And there's nothing wrong with that. I said in a video recently that a truck is a tool, and that the most important thing is it goes up and down the highway and makes you money. But you hear them talking about the reliability of the equipment, the maintenance of the equipment, that it hadn't been taken care of. And they put $5,000 down for these trucks in most cases. And they can't take the truck to another company if things don't work out. Now, right now, there's a lot of talk about if lease purchases are going to continue or if they're not going to continue. And you guys have heard my take on that. And ironically, it's real similar to the take of Ike Stevens of Bonehead Truckers. I'm not sure how many things we agree on or disagree on, but I heard him talk about it in one of his videos recently, and I agree with him. Most of us that are truck drivers are conservatives politically. And so being a conservative, we want less government, more freedom. Well, when you ask the government to step in and say what's an okay contract, what's a not okay contract, you're just asking for more government regulation and more government control. We all know who the good lease purchases are and who the bad ones are. And quite honestly, there's not very many good ones. I don't recommend it in this day and age just because there's so many options to get a truck on your own that you really don't need lease purchase no more. That way, if the company you're at doesn't work out, that you can move to another one. Now, you guys know I'm pretty happy here at SRO Logistics. Things are not perfect here. There's times this week that I've been upset, but not upset enough to leave. But should I ever get to that point where I wanted to leave, I'm not tied into a lease purchase where I'm stuck at the company where I lose the truck and all the money I've invested. I just give him his stuff back and move to another company. I don't see that happening. But like I said, if something were to change, there have been some changes here that I'm not real fond of, but they're nothing severe enough to leave. But can you imagine going to a company and putting $5,000 down like Super Ego and knowing if you leave, you lost your $5,000, your escrow, whatever else money they took from you, and there's no way to recoup that, and you lose the truck. And so I'm stunned. I've been thinking about it for a few weeks. I don't know why people do deals like this. And I was thinking about this today. If you wanted to join a gang, if you wanted to join a criminal gang, they would jump you in. And what that means is you'd go and you'd say, hey, I'd like to join your gang, and they would beat the crap out of you. And then they'd probably require you to do something illegal, sell some drugs, rob somebody, rob a store, something like that. And then they would decide if you could be in their gang or not. Can you imagine if a church tried that? Now, I think most of us would agree that gangs are bad, criminal activity is bad. But can you imagine if a church, ABC Christian Church, ABC Muslim Church, whatever you want to call it, if you went there and you said, hey, I'd like to join your church, and they said, that's great. A couple of our deacons are going to take you out behind the church, and we're going to beat the snot out of you. And then after that, we'll decide if you can become a church member or not. It's crazy. The things that are good that we should be doing have a lower point of entry than bad things that none of us should be doing. And, there was a time when credit was a big wall for a lot of people starting their own trucking business. But now you can get $2,500, $5,000, and you can go buy a truck. And then you can lease it on to a company. And if it doesn't work out, you can move it to another company. And then it's your truck. And then you're building business credit. And we can debate if credit's a good thing or a bad thing. I've done that before with several of you. But yeah, it's crazy to me that here we've got a horrible, horrible company by most accounts in super ego. And not only do they not do a zero down lease, they go, hey, we're going to charge you $5,000 up front. And guys are lining up for it. I don't get it. If you have to do a lease purchase, there's so many better options out there than that. And I'm shocked that people sign up for it and that people think that it's a good idea. And it's got to come down to research. That these guys aren't doing any research or talking to anybody before they make this jump. And so that's what I would say about that. But that's enough of me rambling. I had that pin up. Wanted to get that off my chest, see what you guys think. Right now, I am in, where am I? I'm at a Love's truck stop. I'm just sitting here for this video. Hey Siri, where am I? I'm in Wichita Falls. I thought that's where I was, but I wanted to make sure. Going to Longview, Texas for a 11 a.m. delivery tomorrow, and I don't have another load booked yet. I'm looking. A lot of people ask, well, Todd, why have the videos dropped off? And the rates have improved, but you have to really dig through the crap to find the good loads. And so a lot of my spare time, I'm on the load boards looking. I'm on the phone with brokers negotiating. And it all comes down to scheduling. And as soon as I get this back like I want it, then I'll be able to pop these videos out a lot better. And the fact that Scott called me and went, wow, you had a pretty decent January thus far. I've still got a few days left to run. Looks like I'm going to finish the month somewhere a little over 23,000. I'm reluctant to give that number. That's a gross number. That's before Scott's 20% or anything like that. Some of you are going to go, wow, that's great. Some of you are going to go, oh, that's terrible. In my case, anything above about 16,000 pays the bills. And so I'm in pretty good shape there. Now it's just play catch up and build a nice nest egg for when the repairs start being needed. And I got a couple of minor things I need to do to the truck. Nothing that would get me put out of service. Nothing that's a safety issue. Nothing like that. Just little things that you would expect on a 2019 Freightliner to need fixing. So I'll address those issues. I've already addressed some of them. Put 3 drive tires on the truck. Now all my tires are good, and truck's running like a top. I'll give you an example. I think my batteries are getting weaker slowly. I'm filming this video with the truck idling just to be safe. I need to crank the truck about every 5 hours or they go dead. When I go home, I put a battery charger on it in my shop, and that way I don't have to worry about it. But I'm sure within the next couple of months, I'm going to have to get batteries. Also, in about 3 weeks, I'll be due for a service, oil change. So just little things like that that I know that I've got coming up. And then if there's any surprises, I've got to be ready for that as well. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get in and say hi. It looks like first today was channel member Robbie Ross. He says, howdy, friends from Beaumont, Texas. Good old Beaumont. He won't be too far away from where I'm going. What, about 3.5 hours, something like that? I parked at this Love's, and it's a little bitty parking lot. And if you see me looking out the window, I'm seeing these inconsiderate people pull in, and the fuel pumps are here too. And the real challenge may be getting out of here when I get done. I got to drive about another 4 hours, and so that I can deliver in the morning. And Roger Berry says, howdy from Florence, South Carolina, sunny and 74 here. Dang, it sure is nice. Hope everyone is doing good. Yeah, it's been kind of overcast. It was a light rain all day, a little bit of fog, kind of a gloomy day here, but I'll take it over the cold and snow that I've been experiencing lately. And I know in Lubbock, I don't know about here, that it's supposed to start warming up, and I'm looking forward to that. I have been able, I mentioned that it looks like I'm going to finish somewhere around 23, 24 in January for the month. That's gross revenue. That's with going home quite a bit, sometimes once or twice a week. Now, I'm not staying 4 or 5 days there. I'm spending the night and leaving, taking a 34 and leaving. Those income videos that I do, I'll share that home time with you. I don't have nothing to hide. And like I say, I'm not giving you this information to brag or say, look how great I'm doing. I'm just saying what I'm doing. If you're doing better than me, I'm happy for you. If you're doing worse than me, I'm sorry. I'll try to help you do better. But, I don't see any point in us tearing each other down and saying, you're getting ripped off. That sucks. I wouldn't get out of bed for those numbers. If I'm happy and it pays my bills and it gets me by the house, then you should be happy for me. As far as how I fit in the grand scheme of things, and I've said this before, I'm 100% certain that there's some of you out here that are doing better than me. I'm also 100% certain that there's a lot of you doing worse than me. And for being an over-the-road truck driver, my home time's excellent. I'm not staying out 5 or 6 weeks at a time. I'm not running the Northeast for the most part. I've gone to the East Coast some. I'm doing what I want, when I want, and how I want. And so to me, the freedom carries a lot of value in it. Adam says he's here from the field out working on sprinklers. Glad to have you, Adam. I passed through your area late last night, and I thought about giving you a shout, but I was like, it's too late. One of these days, we're going to have to hang out, my friend. Gary Cook, hello from Demote, Indiana, from the TA truck stop, I-65, exit 230. Yes, I've been there 100 times. And to be quite honest, I would like to go to that area again. I'm just having trouble getting positioned in areas where there's good paying loads going up there. I'm not going up there for $1.30, $1.40 a mile. What I've found, generally speaking, is it takes me about $2 a mile to break even. Now, let me explain what break even means for me. Break even means putting a little money back for maintenance, paying myself a little bit that week, and paying all my expenses. It does not mean living luxuriously at all. So that works out to about $4,000 a week or $16,000 a month. Generally speaking, $16,000 a month, if I was giving me a grade like I was in school, would be a C. $18,000 to $20,000 would be a B. and above 20,000 would be an A minus to an A plus, depending how far above we got. So I'm going to reiterate that in the next income video I do when I talk about my week. But that's kind of where I'm at. So 23 is an A minus for me, or maybe a mid A, like a 94, 95. Nothing to be ashamed of, but nothing to beat myself on the chest and say, look how good I am either. And I'm not sure, but hey, yes it is. Trucker Chris is here from Little Rock, Arkansas. He's a good friend of mine, good dude. I need to get through Little Rock and see him again too. I met him and his family, and they're great people. Speaking of great people, we got a bunch of y'all here tonight. Red Raider Reloading says, what's up, everyone? What's up, Red Raider? Thank you for being here. And Russell Freight Services, hello, everyone. Hey, Russell, thank you for being here. Steve Given, hello, sir. Hello, Steve. Thank you for coming in. I really appreciate all of y'all sticking with me. I know it's been frustrating the last few weeks with me being sick and not being able to do videos. And I appreciate y'all waiting and hanging in there as best you could until I could get back. Roger Berry, did you see the video of Tom Bell hitting that wild boar? No, I did not. I'm going to have to go check that out. I'm not sure what happened. There's a group of guys that used to be real close with me that we would talk a lot. We'd message a lot. They were in here in the chat a lot, and they have kind of fallen off. That happens from time to time. Generally speaking, they'll come back after a few months. I have not had any contact with him in a while. Not sure what's going on there. But I'll go check that video out. But thank you for giving me the heads up on that. Ian MacArthur says, howdy. Hello, Ian. Thank you for being here. Let's see here. Man, I'm glad to have all y'all here. I was afraid nobody's going to show up. These videos are hard to do when y'all ain't here. Mark says, hello, Todd. Good to see you. Yes, sir. Good to see you again. Red Raider Reloading. I was told by a friend of mine that the Arabic-speaking truckers, etc., are turning their trucks back in droves in California. Well, it brings up an interesting deal because there's a lot of stuff in the news right now, and a lot of it's nothing more than Trump derangement syndrome. I hope some of these things are true. We'll wait and see. There's rumors that they're trying to get rid of the Clean Air Act, which would make it legal to delete your truck. Now, I'm not an attorney, but that's what opinions that I've watched and saw have said. So don't take legal advice from me. Don't go deleting your trucks or nothing like that. But that would be a great welcome change. That would save all of us tons in maintenance. It'd probably improve our fuel economy. And so hopefully that is true. Also, there's people saying, and there's a little truth to this, that the FMCSA is looking at removing lease purchases. Now, if any of you have read Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, I believe is what the title was, is you start in an extreme when you're negotiating. You ask for a lot more than what you really want. So I don't think when all the dust settles, this is just my opinion. Let me remind everybody, I'm not a lawyer or a doctor. Please do not take legal or medical advice from me. There's a lot of people that think they're going to take away lease purchases, totally outlaw them. I don't think when the final thing happens, first of all, I don't think it'll be anytime soon. I think it'll take some time. I think there will be court challenges. It'll depend who the next president is after this, because this kind of stuff takes time. But I think we'll see somewhere in the middle. There may be guidelines / qualifications that a company must meet to do a lease purchase. Maybe safety, not safety, but deals in there that are driver protections, let's call them. And it'll probably be something along the lines of, driver can't be locked to one carrier. They have to be able to generate revenue from other sources. So, for example, if you were doing a lease purchase at Prime, I'm sure they'll come up with something that, hey, if Prime doesn't have a load you like, you can do outside load boards or something like that. Of course, as soon as they do that, a lot of these companies are not going to want to do lease purchase anymore, or they're going to put a huge down payment requirement in there, which again, I think you can avoid all of this with, it's going to be an AB5 similar type deal, maybe not as strong as AB5 when they get all the dust settled. And I think you can avoid all this by just going out and getting your own truck. Save your pennies. Well, Todd, I don't have any money. Well, that's your first problem. Save some money and then go buy a truck. There's dealers that'll finance you with bad credit. And then run it like a business. Save money. Don't live extravagantly like I did at Swift. And you'll be fine. Now, this is, let's take my example right now. SRO Logistics. Why do I think I'm safe? Well, because I'm not under the control and direction of the company. I am safety-wise. They check my logbook. I have to send fuel receipts in because they deduct my fuel taxes and things like that. But I have an outside insurance. I pick my loads from multiple brokers, not just one. I've got my truck from an individual, not Scott, financed from an individual. So I'm like a separate company. And I think that protects me and makes me a lot safer than, well, I'll use myself as an example. B&Z Logistics, where I was at prior to this. There, I was under the direction of the company. I was leasing my truck from them. I was getting all my loads from them, everything. So I was a lot more susceptible to AB5 type regulation under that format than what I am now. And so, yeah, let's get a couple more comments in. Deontay checking in. Hope all is well. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you again. I'm glad some of you are getting text or the notifications. Some of you have told me the notifications aren't coming through. And of course, we're at that point where I might as well say it. Well, Todd, how do I get notifications? Right under the video, if you'll click that subscribe button, wait a few seconds, a little bell will pop up. Hit that bell and select all. You'll receive notifications about 30 minutes before these lives come out, and you'll get notifications for all my recorded videos as well. All of that stuff's free to do. While you're there, look to the left and hit that thumbs up. That tells YouTube you like what we're doing, and they'll tell more people about these videos, and we can grow this community. And but I'm so glad y'all are all here tonight. I wasn't sure how this was going to go. That one guy says, how are the rates? Is it busy? I'm doing really good. So I mentioned that I've done a little over, or I will have done a little over 23,000 in gross revenue for the month of January, which is a pretty good month for me, but it'll sound a lot better when you see that I didn't run that many miles to get it. And I think that's one of the things wrong with trucking. I'm probably going to do a video about this at some point, is they've got us in this per mile mindset. And one of the first things they'll ask you when you call a recruiting company, how many miles can you run? Oh, I can do 3,500. I can do 4,000. Well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. It depends on how much of your loads are drop and hook. It depends what part of the country you're running. For example, if you're running out west, it's a lot easier to do than if you're in the traffic congestion of the Northeast. A lot of it depends on the weather. And the truth is, I can make more money running 2,000 miles a week or 2,200 miles a week than what a lot of per mile guys can running 3,000 miles a week. You say, yeah, Todd, but miles. Well, the deal is I'm doing a lot less wear and tear on my truck. I'm not stressing as much. And it leaves me more time to do these videos and these other things as well. So it's not about, and I've said this and had some pretty good debates about it. It's not about how many miles a week you run. It's about how much revenue a week you generate. And I had a trucking company call me. It was before I went to B&Z, and he started that. He's like, what's the most miles you've ever run in a week legally? I said, probably 4,500, something like that. And I said, but I'm not looking to do that. He said, what do you mean? And I said, I'm looking to generate revenue. I could care less how many miles a week I run. I want to know revenue. I want 5,000 to 6,000 a week in revenue. Oh, well, I just don't think that's going to work. I don't either. And that was the last time me and that recruiter talked, because he's looking for a per mile mindset instead of a revenue mindset. He's looking to make the company money instead of looking to make me money. But yeah, the short answer to your question is, I'm seeing that the rates are getting better. There's still a lot of crap on there. There's still a lot of guys hauling loads that should not be hauled. They need to sit there till the rates come up. I pulled one this week for a Nebraska-based mega carrier, and they came up $600 because they needed it moved, and actually $650. And I was like, I would love to do this load. That's what I told them. I said, I really want to do this load. I just can't do it for that rate. And they're like, yeah, there's no way we're coming up to that. Okay, I'm going to keep looking. Save my number. If things change, give me a call. About 30 minutes later, they called. Hey, we can't get to your rate, but we're within $150 of it. Well, I had already padded it. Fine, send it to me. I bumped them $650. Now, granted, I didn't bump them $800 like I was trying to, but I basically got $650 extra by standing my ground. And that's what it's going to take to fix this. Ultimately, is guys are going to have to realize, hey, if I pull that load, I'm going to go out of business. I can't be out here breaking even, because when you break even, eventually your truck's going to break, and you got to be able to pay for it. And so I think more people are realizing that. I think some of the cheap freight haulers are flaking out. They're falling out, and things are getting better. But what I would tell you right now is, and it's mainly because November, I came back to SRO right before Thanksgiving. December was December. January's pretty good, but I'm digging myself out of that month and a half prior. So I'm super optimistic. I got a lot of stuff coming up. I'm still going to try to do the truck show, Matt's in March, but some of it's going to depend on what I've got scheduled with doctor's appointments, how freight does, things like that. But as of right now, if I can go, I will go. Hopefully I can meet some of y'all there. You guys know when I go, I shoot a ton of video while I'm there. I've already got the mics, and I got the gimbal and things like that. So the videos this time around should be a lot better than what they were before. I don't know if I'm going to be at any booths with any other companies or not. That kind of stuff is still being ironed out. But yeah, I'll be there, I hope, and I hope you can be there as well too. But as we get closer to March, I'll update y'all on if I'm going and when I'm going and all of that. Gary Cook, the FMCSA is supposed to be banning lease purchases. I wonder if it'll happen. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. I don't know if it'll be a total ban, because then you get into the weeds about what's a lease purchase, what's not a lease purchase. And I say that because there's a lot of people that don't realize there's a difference. there's a big difference between a lease purchase and being leased on to a carrier. And, in my example, again, use me as your example mentally. B&Z was a lease purchase. I was buying the truck from the company and hauling the company's freight. Here, I'm buying the truck from an outside party. I'm leasing it on to SRO Logistics numbers, and I'm picking my own loads off the spot market, negotiating my own rates, and basically doing everything that I would do if I had my own authority without shouldering the expenses of having my own authority. And I honestly don't think I want the headache of having my own authority. Who knows what the future holds, though. I've learned to never say never. Channel member Robbie Ross, Trump has put a stop to anything government agencies are trying to regulate. Well, actually, yes, but more what he did was put a freeze on the spending. And basically, they're going to go in there and look for government waste and ways to save money. And I'm really excited about that. I think there's a ton of government waste. I think there's a lot of areas that could be cut. And so we'll see. They're going to have opposition. They're going to have people that fight them both in the legislative branches as well as in court. And there's a lot of people that are a lot of judges specifically, that are going to immediately overturn stuff just because it's from Trump. If it was anybody else in the world but Trump, they'd be okay with it. But there's so much hatred for the guy that will, for lack of a better word, excuse the pun, that will trump everything else. That it's just they don't like the orange man, so they don't like his policies either. Even if they're great ideas, even if they work, we see it right now. I just saw a video yesterday that they said the border crossings are down like 95% right now. Now, even if that's not true, even if it's half that, even if they're down 42 or 43% or 45%, something like, I guess it'd be 47. Anyway, my brain ain't working tonight. My math is off. My math ain't mathing. But even if it's off half of what they're saying, that's still a big accomplishment for no longer than he's been in office. Why would you oppose that? Why would you oppose less fentanyl coming across the border? Why would you oppose less criminals coming across the border? Now, if you're going to hit me with well, Todd, they just want the American dream. They're just trying to better their lives, and surely you understand that. I absolutely do. And there's a legal way they can come here, and that's what they need to do. They need to get in line and follow the steps and procedures to come here legally. Well, Todd, we need people to do our agriculture work. We can't, Americans aren't going to do that. That may or may not be true. I think part of the problem is we've got such a robust welfare program that there's no want to there because everything's going to be given to them. But even if that is true and people can't or won't do agriculture work, we also have work permits. These people can apply for work permits and come over here and work. There's a legal process to do everything that they're wanting to do. But if they're not going to obey our sovereignty, if they're not going to obey our laws regarding coming to this country, what makes you think they're going to obey any other laws we got once they get here? And that's why we got to get this under control. If I left Texas right now, and I'm in Texas, and I wanted to go to Canada, guess what? They'd stop me at the border. They'd ask me a lot of questions. They'd check to make sure I'm a good guy. Same thing, Mexico. If I wanted to go in Mexico, they'd make sure I didn't have any firearms. They'd make sure that, I didn't have any contraband. There's border rules for every country. Well, not every country. Most countries have border rules. And the fact that we have them and we can't enforce them because we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings is just crazy. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Rob Rossi says, or Robbie Ross, I'm sorry. That includes Gary, the FMCSA. Yep. Yep. Let's see. Russell Freight Services. My lease purchase truck is almost paid off. I do very well at my lease purchase. If it wasn't for my lease purchase, I wouldn't able to buy a new house. Yeah. And I'll just go ahead and say it. The company that Russell Freight Services is leased on to, he is doing a lease purchase there. They're a good outfit. And it's not uncommon for guys there to pay off their trucks. It happens maybe not a majority of the time, but definitely more than it does at most companies. And so I'm sure when we start debating whether lease purchases or things like that should be legal, this company's going to come up and they're going to say, well, you know, we've got X number of drivers a year that pay trucks off here. And they may even want guys like Russell Freight Services, I'm not saying him specifically, to testify and say, yeah, I had a good experience with a lease purchase. It allowed me to be a truck owner. And that's where we got to be careful. You know, when we get on here and we say all lease purchases are bad, well, that's not true. Maybe most lease purchases are bad. Maybe there are cheaper ways to buy a truck. But for Russell Freight Services, that worked for him. Yeah, here's another example. Robbie Ross works for the same company as Russell Freight Services, and his truck will be paid off this summer. So both of them, here they are about to pay their truck off. They're honestly probably not worried about if lease purchases get banned, because by the time that came to fruition, they would both have their trucks paid off. And Don says, good evening. Good evening, Don. Thank you for being here tonight. Russell Freight Services. Exactly, Robbie. Not all lease purchases are bad. Most of these drivers who lease trucks blame companies for their poor money management. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's never the driver. Well, it's funny because in trucking, we always say it's always the driver's fault. And what we're talking about is if there's an accident, if there's damaged freight, it's always the driver's fault. Whether it is or not, that's the driver's always going to be the first person they try to blame. And in these deals here, drivers always say it's the company's fault. Well, they starved me out. Well, my truck was a piece of junk. Well, this, well, that. And some of that may be true to a degree. But go on YouTube and try to find one driver that says, hey, it was my fault. I didn't know what I was doing. I was poor at planning routes. I was poor at buying fuel. By the way, something else for me to brag about. I am bragging here. I just got my IFTA estimate, and I only owe $21 and some change. So I'm excited about that. It means I bought fuel very well if I only owe $21. So for those that don't know, on your IFTA reporting, the goal is to end up at zero or as close to zero as you can get. I have had IFTA reports before where I owed $300 or $400. So to get one where I only owed $21, I was pretty excited about that. The Loves in Wichita Falls, the driveway is a mess from the construction, isn't it? So not where I'm sitting. They may have got it fixed, but it's a terrible design truck stop. And that's my complaint with Loves in general. Loves, most of us would agree they're probably the best overall truck stop. They got the best rewards program, but they build their parking lots exactly half the size of what they need to be. And they're always crammed. It's always hard to find parking. And if they would just, pick sites where they could have more parking, I think they would dominate truck stops, and they pretty much already do, but they really could if they had decent parking. Roger Berry, that's all that matters. What makes you happy is where it's at. No matter what you do, someone will ridicule you. Your bills are paid and building up a savings account. That's wonderful. Yes, sir. Thank you for that. You would be amazed. I was talking to a YouTuber the other day that was just starting a channel, and she had her first troll, and they really just devastated her and hurt her feelings. And I told her, I said, hey, if you're going to do this, you got to get some tough skin, because they're going to say some mean stuff about you. And most of it's not true, or it's an exaggeration of the truth. And you just got to keep it in mind that they don't know you, and keep doing what you do. Speak the truth, and things work themselves out. Channel member Robbie Ross, I'm debating Black Bear Diner or Cracker Barrel. Decisions. I really like the Black Bear Diner. That's where I'd be leaning. Cracker Barrel is good, but it doesn't seem like it's as good as what it used to be. Maybe it's just me, but the other problem with Cracker Barrel is if I go in there, I want to buy stuff out of their gift shop. But I like the Black Bear Diner. They've got pretty good food. Steve Given, Gary, the FMCSA is pushing Congress to ban lease operator contracts as we speak. The FLSA also has laws regarding lease purchases, which essentially outlaws the practice. Yeah, we'll see. We will definitely see. I don't know if it outlaws it. It makes it difficult, and that's why these contracts, if you ever sign one, they're really, really long, usually like 25 or 30 pages. There's a lease purchase contract and then an operating agreement. Mine with SRO Logistics is not that long at all, and I hadn't pulled it out and counted the pages, but I would guess it's around maybe 6 or 7 pages. I may be wrong about that. I'm sure somebody will correct me if I am, but yeah, especially with these mega carriers, their lawyers have gone in there and put all the legalese in there, and it's not uncommon for them to be 25 to 35 pages or even longer. Roger Berry says Black Bear Diner as well, and also encourages everyone to hit the like button. Yes, please do that. It would definitely be a big appreciated help. And channel member Robbie Ross, thanks, Roger. I love Mellow Yellow. It's on tap at Cracker Barrel. Gonna walk across the street. So he decided on Cracker Barrel, went against my advice. Mellow Yellow won the day. Red Raider Reload and found out last week that my company is outsourcing our load builders to people in India. Our load builders take the info that each store needs and takes that data and builds a load for us. Yes, and I know exactly what company Red Raider Reloading works for too. I used to work for a company that was subcontracted to them, and I can tell you right now that's going to be a mess. So he works for a company that delivers to a chain of grocery stores, and their demands are different. Sometimes you can have multiple stops. Oftentimes you can have multiple stops of reefer loads. And being in India and not familiar with the area, I'm sure it's going to save the company money, but I'm sure it's going to increase the driver stress and headaches. And quite frankly, probably the office staff's headaches as well. Hey, look who's here. Chris Bollinger is in the house. Good to see you again, my friend. I'll try to give you a call here in the next couple of days. James Worley. Hi, Todd. Is this a good time to get into trucking as a company driver since Trump is back as president? A lot of questions there. First of all, what company? and how much experience do you have? And the reason I say that is, generally speaking, yeah, I think it's a great time to get in trucking. But the first year when you have no experience, whatever company you go to, they're going to take advantage of you and treat you like crap. So just know that whenever you come in the first year, your income's not going to be great. Your home time's going to be worse. You're going to do a lot of terrible loads. And it's just part of the paying your dues, and things get better as you get more experience, as your safety record develops and things like that. So if you want to email me, my email's in the ticker at the bottom, todd@truckertodd.net, and tell me more about yourself. Or you can do it here. I'll do it here if you're comfortable putting that information out. Tell me about your experience, where you live, what you're looking to do, and what companies you're looking at. And we can definitely talk about it. Hey, Life on 18 Wheels is here. He says, TA, truck stop parking is worse. Assume make you blindside and it's not enough run. Well, here's the other thing about TA, and this is what gets me about TA. They'll have 150 parking spots and 75 of them will be paid. And that's what irritates me about the TA truck stops. There should be a way to accrue some free parking, like you get showers when you fuel. They should, every 200 gallons or every 300 gallons, give you a free parking spot. And there's nothing like that. Now, I know some of you will say, oh, you can use your points. Yeah. I saw a spot the other day that was $25. You're going to have to buy 2,500 gallons of diesel to get that spot. Now, there are ways you can get double points, triple points, all that. So cut that in half. You're going to have to buy 1,300 gallons of diesel to get a free spot. And that's just crazy. Because while you're there, you're going to go inside. You're going to buy a cheeseburger and a candy bar and a soft drink. And so they're going to make other money off of you besides just that parking spot. Now, some of you will say it's because people are leaving their pee bottles and poop bags out in the parking lot. And that's why they're charging for cleanup. And there may be some truth to that as well, too. They got to hire some guys to clean up after some sloppy truck drivers. But they're not doing that either, because you still walk across the parking lot and it smells like urine, and you still see the pee bottles and poop bags. Oh, I missed this. Sorry about this. Robbie Ross, channel member, did the super sticker for $20. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Good to be back, and I appreciate everybody sticking with me. And yeah. I'm sorry I got distracted. I never noticed his dog in his profile picture before. I'd like to have a dog on the truck, but I'd like a much smaller dog. And also, let me correct myself here. In one of my videos, I said my truck was unorganized. Somebody twisted that to filthy. It is not filthy. It is unorganized, meaning I'm still deciding which cabinets I want stuff to go in, what goes on the top bunk, what goes under the bed, things like that. Which cabinets I'll use for food, which cabinets I'll use for clothes, what stays on the truck, what goes. Like, for example, right now, I've got 2 CBs on here. I've got 2 GPSs on here right now. Technically 3. But one of them's built into my tablet. It's a Trucker GPS. So there's some of that I need to downsize. That does not mean that hygienically my truck is not clean or anything like that. So just wanted to clarify there. Exactly. I agree with Michael. He says you also have to pay to park there. Yeah, that's I don't mind that they have paid parking. Sometimes it's nice because I can go in there and get a spot. But when 2/3 of the parking spots are paid and there's 10 spots or 15 spots that are free, That's not right either. All right, let me get a little drink here and we'll keep going. Making sure that truck ain't going to hit me. Robbie Ross, channel member, TA Petro sent me an email on how to improve. I suggested making parking better, improve their rewards program. Yeah, and that would be two great things. And used to, when you ate at the restaurant at TA and Petro, they would swipe your rewards card and you got points for that. You can still spend your points in most of the restaurants, but you can't accrue points while you're there. And I wish they'd bring that back as well. And all of these a lot of these truck stops need to improve their shower facilities as well too. I took one at a Love's today, not this Love's, a different one, and it felt like what I would imagine a prison shower to be. It was pretty rough, and so yeah, hopefully they've got some remodels scheduled soon. I'm looking for a good starter company to get my CDL training through them. I'm in Southwest Arkansas, just looking for a better job, and I like the trucking lifestyle. So so what I would suggest, don't go to one of these mega carrier schools. Instead, go to your unemployment office. In Texas, they call it the Texas Workforce Commission. I don't know what they call it in Arkansas, but go there. A lot of times they have grants available for private trucking schools, and you can go there and they've got job placement and everything. I'm tempted to tell you avoid the mega carriers as much as possible. The problem is that to get experience, that's probably where you're going to end up. And just remember, the first year anywhere is probably going to be pretty bad. Just put your head down and live through it. Try not to job hop that first year. Try to stay with your first company a year and a half. And then you're going to see a lot of doors open for you. If you don't have any accidents or tickets that first year, you're going to see a lot of doors open for you and a lot of opportunities. You're in a decent area for do. I'm going to assume that you're probably in the Hope, Arkansas area, somewhere in there, maybe Malvern, something like that. But go to your local unemployment office and let them help you get started. And that's going to be the cheapest way for you anyway. If you go to a trucking company, they're going to charge you a ridiculous amount of money for the school, and they're going to make you sign a contract. And if you don't work for them for a certain length of time, they're going to make you pay all that money back. If you go through one of these employment deals, one of these state employment deals, the state's going to take care of it. And so you're not under a company's thumb the same way. And so, again, I'll be happy to, if you want to email me, todd@truckertodd.net, I'll be happy to talk with you about it more there. Or if you're comfortable giving this kind of information out here, I'll talk with you about it here, and I'm sure other guys have advice about it as well. Now, as far as if you've got to go to a mega carrier, Swift has a really good program. I know you guys are going to eat me alive for that. Try to get in their Top Gun program. If you qualify, they have trucking simulators that you get to use that kind of help you get used to the dynamics of the truck and how to back and things like that, so you visualize it. You also do in-truck stuff as well, but the Top Gun program is really thorough. And I know some of you guys don't like Swift, and there's a lot of jokes out there about Swift, but of the mega carriers, I think they've got the best training program. Prime also, I hear, has a pretty good training program. It's kind of hit and miss. But with Prime, you're going to be pulling a reefer, and you're going to receive extreme pressure to do a lease purchase. And don't do it. You need 2 to 5 years experience before you do your first lease purchase. They'll do it much sooner than that with you. And to be honest, you're not ready at that point, and nobody is. You need to learn freight lanes. You need to learn trucking and go through a couple of winters and things like that before you tackle that monster. Exactly. Scotty Two Jobs, that's a cool name. Vocational rehabilitation will pay you to go to truck driving school. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's there's lots of options out there. A lot of people go to mega carriers because they feel like there's no other options. But a good Google search in your area and a few phone calls to nearby trucking schools is a great idea. Going to your unemployment office is a great idea. Google vocational rehabilitation and see if you can get paid to go to trucking school. Also, while you're in training with the company, you'll typically receive a few $100s a week in pay. You're not going to get rich, but it kind of gives you some money to live on and send back home while you're going through training. Hey, look who's here, P.U. Patel. Good to see you again, my friend. Thanks for stopping by. Michael says, special if you can't read or speak English. Exactly. You know, when I went to truck driving school, but they were a new thing back in 96. They taught us that it was a requirement to get your CDL that you had to be fluent in English in case there was an accident or something. I remember specifically them saying that in class. Well, evidently times have changed or that rule's not being enforced. Although I did see something funny one day. I was in a scale, I believe it was in Montana, and they pull you in. They just want to check your cap card. And I'm standing in line, and I walk in there, and the guy in front of me, the DOT officer is talking to him. He no speak English, no English. And the DOT's like, all right, that's another ticket. And that's a $150 ticket or whatever it was. And he's like, I speak little English. He's like, nope, it's too late now. I thought that was hilarious. Mark says, I think paid parking is BS. Another way they can take advantage of us. Yeah, exactly. And on top of that, they have what I call a trucker tax. So you go in the truck stop and things are twice as high as what they would be anywhere else. And if you don't believe me, go in there and look at a CB of your choice and then get on Amazon or a Bluetooth headset of your choice and then look on Amazon and see what the price disparities are. But it's crazy that, you know, it's just because we drive a vehicle, everything is more expensive for us. Diesel's the same way. You go to the truck diesel pumps and then walk over and look at the car diesel prices, and it'll be significantly cheaper. Mac T says, how is Crete Carrier? From the people I've talked to, it's pretty good over there. I've got a good friend that works over there, Skyline Trucking. Check out his channel. He's a YouTuber, and he loves Crete. He's been there, I think, 5 or 8 years, and he's happy as a bug in a rug. And so, yeah, I gave them some serious consideration because they do go to Lubbock a lot, and might have ended up there instead of going to B&Z. But the accident had to be 3 or 5 years old before they could take me. I think they said 3 years. And so that disqualified me for now. But yeah, from all the accounts I've seen, they seem to be pretty straight up. Again, they pay mileage, and I'm not a big fan of mileage pay. I'd rather see percentage. But there's times when mileage pay is great. When rates drop, yeah, I want to be on mileage pay, and that's why I went to Swift when I did. When rates come up, I want to be out here on percentage. James Worley says, thanks, Todd. Yes, sir, anytime. Hey, Midlife Truckers here. We were just talking about you. You don't haul freight for free. Why do you feel entitled to park for free? Well, because I'm not parking for free. I'm buying stuff while I'm there. I'm a customer. I'm probably going to spend $500 or $600 on diesel. I'm probably going to spend $20 in the store. And even if I don't, the guy beside me is. By that logic, why don't they charge the other customers that park in front of the truck stop? It's this is part of the problem midlife with trucking is instead of having truckers advocate for us, we got truck drivers defending the truck stops. And it's not really fair because you're not really a true over-the-road driver. You go home quite a bit, and so you're not living on the road like a lot of guys are. Most of these guys are going to go inside. They're going to get a shower. They're going to get some food. They're going to buy some stuff. If their truck needs anything, they're going to use that shop for service. There's nothing free about it. Terry Wayne says best way if you can get around paid parking is to park at rest areas. Yeah, I've started doing that. I parked at a rest area last night for that reason. For one, the truck stops are usually full at the time of night I was having to park. And also it saves me from getting up in the morning and going inside and spending a bunch of money. Scotty, 2 jobs. Large truck stop companies will buy huge swaths of land, put in minimum parking, and seek the rest of the land to hotels and car lots and such. Yes, sir, I agree with that completely. Terry Wayne, Skyline Trucking is a good guy. Yes, sir, he is a good guy. And I would encourage y'all to check him out if you have any interest in Crete. But I've never heard him say anything bad about Crete, either privately or on one of his videos. Michael says, I agree with you on that, brother. Midlife trucker. What are you talking about? I'm an over-the-road driver. I shower every day in a travel center. Okay, I was mistaken. I was thinking you did kind of a regional out and back thing for Cheeseman. I was mistaken. Then that even amplifies my question even more. If you're showering at truck stops every day and you're spending money in those truck stops, why would you think that you're not paying for parking? Your existence at the truck stop is you spending money. All right, we're caught up on the comments. Let me remind everybody, give this video a thumbs up, share it on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. While you're at it, tell your friends about it. Hit the little $sign down there next to the comments and learn how you can become a channel member, do super stickers, all that good stuff. And when you subscribe, the most important part, make sure you hit that bell and select all. Those things are free, and it'll let you know when future videos come out. All right, let's jump back in. Give you guys just a few minutes to type comments. Man, we've already been on 1 hour and 10 minutes. The time has flown tonight. We should look at the federal government for parking. Truck stops provide parking as a luxury. We would still spend the same money there without parking. Well, I'll tell you what I don't understand, and maybe some of the people in here that seem to have all the answers can tell me. We've got these huge way stations that when they're closed, they say no truck parking. Why don't we do like some states do and let those be safe havens where we could park and DOT leave us alone, not wake us up in the middle of the night and inspect us? And same thing with rest areas. They closed a ton of rest areas. Why don't they leave them open for truck parking? Put 1 dumpster in there or 2 dumpsters in there and let trucks park in there overnight. Here's another thing. I delivered at a Costco distribution center a few weeks ago. They had an enormous parking lot, and they would let you come in 12 hours before your delivery and park there so you could take your 10-hour break there. Why don't more distribution centers do stuff like that? When you got in there, probably 50 feet from my truck, they had a porta potty with a sink if you needed to go to the bathroom. But you go to a Walmart distribution center, for example, and they won't let you in until an hour before your appointment. And that's crazy as well. Terry Wayne, Midlife Trucker is another good guy. I went to Millis because he recommended to me. That was a good starter company. Yeah, Midlife Trucker is a good guy. We don't agree on everything, but shoot, it'd be a boring world if we all agreed on everything. I like the guy. He's a very successful driver over there at Cheeseman. I believe he's a company driver, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's that's the good thing about this channel. You can come in here, and as long as we keep it no punches below the belt, we keep it semi-respectful. We can debate stuff, and so that's good. But yeah, he is a good guy. Michael's leaving, says, later, guys. Good night, Michael. Thank you for stopping by. Try to catch the rest on the replay if you can. Scotty, 2 jobs. Used to be you could buy 50 gallons of fuel and park for free. Yeah, you used to could fill your mug up for free too if you bought diesel, and now sometimes they give it to free and sometimes they charge you for it, which that's fine. I don't mind paying for my drink. But I just don't think we should be charged because a drink is optional. I don't think we should be charged for doing something that's mandated to us by the government. We're forced to park, and then there's either no parking or it's ridiculous, $18 to $25 to park there. But I'm also a free enterprise guy, and I get that they're a private business and they're there to make money. So make 25% of the spots paid and make 75% of them free so that we can get a place to park at night. Because I'll tell you the sad reality, and this is something that nobody's going to say except me probably. There's a lot of truck drivers out here that don't have $25. They're eating bologna sandwiches. They're scraping by. And so they're going to keep driving. And they work for some of these companies that we've talked about earlier, the super egos and stuff, that'll adjust their logbook, allegedly. And so they're going to push it, and that makes the roads more unsafe. Or they're going to park on exit ramps that weren't designed for truck parking, and that's dangerous. We've seen accidents where people are killed where they hit people on exits. Heck, just this week, I've seen people park on the shoulder of the road. They're not broke down. They just pull over and sleep on the side of the interstate. And so this paid parking, I don't mind some of it out here. I'm not opposed to it, but it's there's some people struggling right now, and especially during COVID. I think they should have waived the paid parking during COVID. Oops, I shouldn't have said the C word. This video may get demonetized. But yeah, especially during COVID, it would have been nice to see them say, hey, we know times are tough right now. For the next 2 months, we're not charging for parking or something like that. I see a company called KL Brennan just opened a milk account in Lubbock. Don't have much information about them other than what's on Safer. Yeah, there is that came from Mac T. For those that don't know about Lubbock, they are building a big cheese plant there, and I could have told you the name of it until just now. I'm drawing a blank. But so there's a lot of milk and dairy that it's always been there. They have Western Dairy Transport over there in Shallow Water and some stuff like that. And KL Brennan, I've been seeing them do like Craigslist ads and stuff for a while now. So there's a lot of stuff coming to Lubbock and to West Texas. That's kind of a growing market, and it's helped me be able to get home a lot more or pass through the house for 34s and things like that. It used to be extremely difficult to get through there, and it's getting it's getting noticeably easier for sure. They don't even have to give us showers. The federal government tells us when we can drive. We pay tax to drive on the roads, yet the rest area is closed or lack thereof. Yes, sir, I agree with you completely there. I have seen like some of those oases on the toll roads that even have showers, but yeah, the rest areas don't have to have showers or nothing. All they got to have is a toilet, and shoot, some of them are just picnic areas or parking areas that don't have even that. But it's silly when they close a way station and barricade it off where you can't park in there, or you see a way station that you could park 200 trucks in there, and they got big signs up, no overnight parking. Midlife says, just looked, I've only paid for parking once so far out of 5 payroll weeks. Yeah, I had a load that had a little time on it. It was on a weekend. I had to pay for 2 nights at a spot, and I want to say it was $18 a night here recently at a pilot. But it's rare that I pay for a spot too. I try to avoid it. I probably do it once a month or once every other month or something like that. But it's but I have the freedom to pick where I go and don't go. There's a lot of guys that are on accounts, and what if you worked for Hirschbach and you were on a Tyson account and you went to areas where you pretty much had to do paid parking? That's there's a lot of people that don't have it as good as we do right now. And I told y'all earlier in the video, I'm not bragging. I'm treading water right now. I'm making up for November and December. But there's a lot of guys that are really, really struggling right now. And it just seems like they're kicking somebody when they're down. Koch is a great company, 2024 and newer fully loaded equipment, good pay and miles. They also have a great mentor program. Okay, that's good to know. So there you go. The guy earlier that was looking for a check and see if Koch is hiring in your area. Deontay Butler, my company, Martin Brower, has an area for drivers to park that bring inbound freight to the Atlanta, D.C. by, say, not sure about the other ones. Yep. And the Walmarts used to, a lot of them allow trucks to park there. And now if you're not delivering there or you're not a Walmart truck, a lot of them don't want you there no more. And I get it. Trucks were trashing the parking lot and doing all kinds of stuff like that. If I need to go to one now, I usually call ahead and talk to the store manager and ask him if I can park there while I get medication or while I get some groceries or whatever. Roger Berry says, I'm busting out of here. Stay safe, my friends. Yes, sir. Try to catch the replay if you can. I appreciate you coming in tonight. Scotty, 2 jobs. It's a law in Louisiana. If you have a casino, you have to have truck parking and showers. The more video poker machines, the more parking you have to have. Yeah, and I love that. I've parked at several casinos just because you can usually get a great meal there. Like you said, they've got showers there. There's usually plenty of parking. And so in a pinch, sometimes I'll stop at a casino and park there for the night. Terry Wayne says, Todd, good to see you back. Always fun hanging out. getting knowledge from you. Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's good to be back and catch up with all of you. I've I've wondered how everybody was doing. It's good to be back and see y'all all again. And I know I've been promising it. The videos will return. We're going to get things rolling again. It just, I got to beat that bug. And you've heard me cough a couple of times tonight. Throat's still a little sore, but I'm getting better. Why Maine? Those parking lots are $1 million plus. We wouldn't have that issue if they didn't trash the lots. Yeah, but by the same token, you can go to Walmart, and even the ones that have kicked the trucks out, they're still trashing the parking lot. People in four-wheelers drop trash out there too. You know, they'll throw their Sonic cup out in the parking lot. I've seen them leave trash in the shopping carts. So in fairness, it's not just truck drivers doing it. But I will give you that I've never seen a customer leave a pee bottle or a poop bag in a parking lot. Midlife trucker, we're going to disagree on this one, I'm pretty sure. Drivers not having $25 to pay for parking is not the fault of the TA. Drivers that do not have money should work their clock to park earlier. Well, you sound like a dispatcher, and that's all good and true when you can, but sometimes the load dictates when you can stop and when you can't. And I would agree that there's bigger things to why a truck driver doesn't have $25. There probably is some stuff there to that. However, it is exactly the pilot and the TA's fault. They're the ones that set the prices. $10 would be plenty for a parking spot. While I'm at it, scale tickets shouldn't be $15 or $13 or whatever they are now. That's crazy. But no, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this. Money go getter, hit the quitters. Truck stops can close all parking right now. What are we going to do? Well, that's the great thing about a free market economy. A truck stop can make any decision they want to make. They can make 100% of their parking paid. They can block off trucking and just become a fuel stop. That's fine. What that does is spur growth and competition, and we've already seen it. We've seen the rise of other truck stop chains, Roadies and QT and Yesway and what's that other one? Road Ranger. There's other companies that'll fill that void if they want to do that. So I'm not afraid, but that's a choice they can make. I'm going to, if there's two truck stops there and I know one of them charges for parking and one of them don't, I'm going to go to the one that don't first and try to park there. And I'm going to try to spend my money there. And I think that's an important thing to think about here, is that we can enact change in trucking and in other things, not by attacking each other like a lot of people like to do, but by voting with our dollars, being smart about where we spend our money. Gary Cook says, are the oil fields coming to life in Texas yet? That is a great question. I haven't talked to any of my oil field friends lately. I've got a friend, hadn't talked to him in a while, as a matter of fact, Road Scholar. He's got a YouTube channel. He was pulling containers in Dallas, and he recently went to the oil field. I need to reach out to him and see how the oil field's doing, and maybe I can let y'all know here pretty soon. Mac T says, yeah, my current company does a lot of furniture row loads to Lubbock and the surrounding West Texas towns like Midland, San Antonio. Man, I didn't know that. I wish I knew what company it was. But that's good. So you're in Lubbock quite a bit. Terry Wayne says, always have a 4-gallon bucket and trash bags in case you have to use the bathroom when you have emergency, no bathroom to use. That's what I do. I think the majority of us do something similar to that. My bucket I use for also when I air up my tires. I turn it upside down and sit on it so I don't have to get on the pavement, get my knees on the pavement and get oil and grease and who knows what else on my pants. And I sit on the bucket and air up my tires. I got one of those airlines that hooks to your truck airlines and air up my tires. And so, yeah, I do the same thing. And I'm not saying that's a bad way to go, but when you got a poop bag, dispose of it properly. Don't just throw it out in the parking lot or throw it under your neighbor's truck. Take it and put it in the dumpster just like you do your animal, your dog or whatever when they go. Take it and put it in the dumpster. P.U. Patel, places don't like drivers parking on their lot because of all the pee bottles and poop bags they throw out even when porta potties are provided. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, for example, I think most drivers at some point in their life have got between their truck and trailer and took a leak. I think most of us have done that at one point or another in our life. But you go to these shippers and you'll see guys doing it when there's a porta potty 30 feet from them. And they could walk over there and use that, but nope, they'll do it in the parking lot or they'll do it in a cup and chunk it out their window when there's a porta potty not even 50 feet from them. Midlife trucker, but if they're Hirschbachen, aren't they making enough to afford the best parking? Truck parking club even? You would think so, but I think the most famous of Hirschbachers that even they went so viral that they got their own dance. I think they're living a little slimmer now that they're not getting that guarantee every week. Channel member Robbie Ross, I'm not a fan of overnight at a rest area. Got blocked in and could not get the guy to move up. Well, shoot, I had that happen at a truck stop the other day. I'm trying to describe the parking lot. It went into like a cul-de-sac, and they had 45-degree parking coming out of the cul-de-sac. And I was in one of those 45-degree slots, designated truck parking, and a guy pulled into the cul-de-sac and blocked everything. There was like 4 of us that couldn't get out. And so that next morning I had to get up real early for a delivery. I had to go over there and bang on his truck and wake him up. Of course, he didn't speak any English and had to get him to move his truck. Don't get too carried away at those casinos. Remember, you're going to need 25 days to park for the next day. I've never been charged for parking at a casino. Some of them do have a time limit, though, and I'm not saying there's not any that don't charge. I'm just saying that I've never been charged. But they've got really good food at most of them. Money Go Getter Hit the Quitters says they're not leaving pee bottles and poo bags. True. But Walmart is famous for their security. They can get on their cameras and see who dropped those poop bags out there. And that has to be illegal. You can go after those drivers instead of punishing us all. And before you tell me, oh, it's too time consuming, if there's an accident in the parking lot, they get on their cameras. And they've got full-time security staff that's always on their cameras making sure you're not stealing anything. So they could see who the culprits were that were doing the bad things in the Walmart parking lot. And same thing for Target and all the other big department stores, Lowe's. They've all got extensive cameras in their parking lot. When I worked at Lowe's, they took us in the security room during orientation, and they looked at a car 3 blocks away and read the license plate right in front of us. That's how good their cameras are. So, I mean, they wouldn't have any issue seeing which truck threw their trash out in the parking lot or which truck threw a pee bottle out or something like that. Wymain says, you like to make excuses. Every man knows his income, but living above their means. Yeah, but that's a systemic problem of the country, not just truck drivers. That's why credit card, 80% of credit cards are maxed out. That's why so many people have car repossessions and house foreclosures. It's not just truck drivers. I would say the majority of the country is living outside their means. And I just don't feel like the solution to that is by burdening them with more debt when they're trying to do what the government forces them to do and find a safe place to park for the night. But again, a bigger problem is here, instead of advocating for truckers and saying, yeah, truck stops shouldn't be charging for parking, we're justifying it for them. Yeah, 25 is great. Maybe they should charge 50. And we should be advocating for truck drivers instead of defending truck stops that don't care about drivers at all. While we're on that subject, go into your next truck stop and look and see how much trucking supplies are there. Usually it's one aisle now. No mud flaps, very few selection of lights. Definitely no belts or hoses or things like that unless you go to a TA that has a shop and you can buy parts out there. Light bulbs are at a very small amount. So, you know, while I might agree with you to a degree that, hey, that man made his bed, let him lie in it, I'm not going to defend truck stops against drivers. That's why we get all the stuff. That's why we have ELDs. That's why we have all the stuff we have in trucking, because we're too busy attacking each other instead of standing up for each other. Robbie Ross, channel member, Pilot Flying J, gift me parking. I have a handicap pass and I never pay there. That's a great deal. That's a great deal. What do you do? This is a question for you. What do you do if you get there and somebody is illegally parked in the handicap spot? Will they make them move so you can get that spot? Or you just head on down the road to the next truck stop? Old Cat says, if all truck stops close parking, we are screwed. That would take decades to match the parking volume. We will still spend money at truck stops for food and fuel. So we're talking about a hypothesis of something that's never going to happen. They're never going to do that. And for the example I gave earlier, as soon as one truck stop does that, somebody's going to pop up with a truck stop that does have truck parking, because they know that it's a cash grab. You're going to make more money if you've got parking for trucks. And so we're worrying about something that's never going to happen. But if we're sitting here defending paid parking, then the truck stops are going to feel emboldened to do more crap to us. Whereas if we're saying, hey, this ain't right, we're not going to take this, they might reevaluate it. Robbie Ross, channel member, Cracker Barrel serves cold beer. I did not know that. I did not know that either. Travis Jones, porta potties are filthy. I'd rather pee outside. Well, most of them have the little urinal on the wall, and I just try not to touch anything and make sure I use a lot of hand sanitizer afterwards. Hang on, I got to take stuff. I got to take care of some stuff here. All righty, here we go. Had to get rid of a couple of trolls. Mac T says, when you were at a contractor at Swift, was it hard to get on the Target account? So I never tried because of where I lived. I ran their load board when I was there. I was one of the beta testers for it. But I don't remember it being super difficult. They had several of them, and it depended on which one you're talking about. But I knew a few people on the Florida one. And so I don't remember it being easy, but I don't remember it being difficult either. It seemed like there was like a small waiting list, but I really don't remember because it wasn't ever something that I really looked into. Robbie Ross, channel member, good question. It's happened more than once if security person does. Yep. Mac T, I notice nowadays when I pull into a pilot, I see 25 to 30 paid spots filled, yet the app says 26 open slots. Yeah, a lot of people don't pay until the security guy comes out and makes them. And a lot of these truck stops don't have anybody going around every night. So you can get away with it sometimes not paying and just parking there. But the problem you have is if people reserve spots, then you're going to get woke up at 2 or 3 in the morning and told you got to move. And so sometimes I just don't want to be woke up. But yeah, you can oftentimes, I've seen that happen a lot too. It'll be full and it'll say 7 spots available, 19 spots available. Oh, the trolls are here tonight. Hang on a second. Waiting for some of the comments to pop up. Robbie Ross, their job well. They will tell driver to move. If it's a woman at night, won't do anything. Yeah, and I wonder if it's true for certain trucking companies that they might tell Joe's Trucks that has 2 trucks, hey, you got to move. But if Swift or JB Hunt or one of the big companies is there, I wonder if they go after them the same way. It's time for Jerry Jones to step down, says Mac T. Yeah, I thought his pick for head coach was a little underwhelming. Um, it I told, matter of fact, I was talking to Robbie Ross the other day when I said this. I don't think we're going to see the Cowboys in the Super Bowl in Jerry Jones's lifetime. I think he's going to have to be gone or sell the company or deceased before we're going to have a chance. He just is incapable of making good decisions anymore. And I think, the Bible says pride comes before the fall. And I think his ego is the biggest problem with the Cowboys. P.U. Patel, when are you going to do a live with the Fly Rabbit, Todd? I don't have any plans to do any follow-up videos with the Fly Rabbit. Trucker Chris, hello. Hey, Trucker Chris, good to see you again. I was talking about you earlier. I don't know if you was here for that or not. I don't know why it got warm in here all of a sudden. Get it cooled off here in just a second. All right, we're caught up on the comments. If you would, give me a thumbs up, share this video on your social media platforms, and make sure you're subscribed. When you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell and select all so that you receive notifications when future videos come out. Also, for more information about becoming a channel member, hit the little $ beside where you put a message, and there will be details for that as well. I appreciate everybody coming in here tonight. I'm going to give y'all a few more minutes. We're creeping up on 2 hours. If y'all got anything else, throw it out there. We'll discuss it. If not, I'm going to hop back on the road and start driving. I got 4 hours to go. Oh, I was talking about meeting you in Little Rock and how I needed to get back there and see you again, and about how I met your family and what a good guy you are, and all of that stuff. Trucker Chris was asking what I said about him, so I shouldn't have told you. I should have made you go back and watch the video. But yeah, it wasn't nothing bad. Just looking to see if I see any more comments. All righty, it looks like we've wound down. We still got 23 people here, but it looks like we're going to call it a night. Y'all take care, and we'll catch you on the next one. I'm trying to get back to Tuesdays and Thursdays videos at 5 p.m. Central Time. So we may have another one tomorrow. We'll just see what kind of load I book tomorrow and how tomorrow goes. But got a couple more comments. Mac T says, don't you just hate truck stops that have roundabouts just to get into them? Yeah, I don't like the roundabouts to begin with. We used to have one back in the 70s in Lubbock, and they called it the Circle. And I don't like those things, especially in a truck, but what can you do? I can live with that. Come to Little Rock. I pass through there a lot. I just hadn't been able to stop lately, but hopefully I can get back through there again before too long. P.U. Patel, you need to go live more often, bud. Yes, sir. I totally agree. I'm working on it. I just had to get things. It's like when you start pedaling a bicycle up a hill. When you first take off, that's when the hardest pedaling takes place. After you get the bike rolling, it gets a little easier. And same thing when I came back into trucking, I went to B&Z to get the wheels rolling, kind of make sure I could still do it. It was a controlled environment where they dispatched me and I could make sure I could still drive the truck. Once I was confident about that, I came back to the spot market, and I came back at a terrible time, right around Thanksgiving. And so now I'm kind of hitting my groove. Scott calling me today, telling me how January went, was a good affirmation for me. And so now it's a scheduling thing and a location thing. I've got to make sure that I got enough signal. These videos take a lot of data. And so I got to make sure I've got a good, strong, stable signal, that I'm in a good area, and that I can still deliver my load on time when I do these. But yeah, the goal is to pump out 2 or 3 recorded videos a week and do 2 lives a week. And we'll get there, and it won't be much longer. I would have already been there if I hadn't have been sick, though. But I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate everybody sticking with me. And the comments are coming back again, so we're going to keep going for a little longer. Channel member Robbie Ross had meatloaf tonight. It was okay. Yeah, I had some meatloaf the other night that was pretty good. So yeah, my wife makes a great meatloaf. Trucker Chris, have you thought about doing a live voice chat? I bring people on sometimes as guests. I know you and I have discussed some people you'd like me to interview. We hadn't got that put together yet, but yeah, I have guests on. It's been a while since I did one. Honestly, I had a guy that came on once a month. I'm not allowed to talk about him. He put a cease and desist on me, but because the truth hurts. But I haven't done many of them since then for that reason. But yeah, if you've got my number, text me or call me and tell me who you have in mind, and I'll bring them on and talk to them. Trucker Chris says, "Stop next time you're passing." Yeah, that I'll try to do that. If I've got any time, I'll try to stop. Maybe we can grab dinner or something. P.U. Patel, do you stay in touch with Michelle from Swift? I haven't had any direct communication with her in probably, I don't know, several months. But indirectly, drivers have told me that they told her they knew Trucker Todd, and she'd say, "Hey, tell Trucker Todd hi for me." Or I've known drivers that said, "Hey, I'm going to go see Michelle," or "I'm going to call Michelle." And I'll say, "Well, tell Michelle I said hi." So there's no bad blood between us that I'm aware of. But just now that I'm not at Swift and she's a recruiter, there's not really been a lot of necessity for us to talk. But we kind of commute, what I'd call third party, through other people still. Or not commute, communicate. Good grief. Getting tongue-tied too. I'm out of practice. You'll have to forgive me for being a little rusty. I'll get back in the groove. So you're trying to, the dollar sign is to the right of the chat deal, like next to the smiley face, or at least it is on an Apple. And you can do super stickers or super chats there. Trucker Chris, yummy meatloaf. I had frozen pizza. Oh, Trucker Chris knows. He knows where all the good eateries are in Little Rock. Yeah, I definitely need to go see Trucker Chris again. And just he's a really good guy. His family too. kids, everything. Just definitely somebody that's on my list of people I'd like to see again soon. And Trucker Chris says 10-4. All right, we're caught up on the comments again. Have y'all got anything else before I check out of here? Oh, we did get some more. Gary Cook says, I wonder how the Swift load board is doing. So I've seen a few videos from guys that said it was doing good, but at the same time, almost nobody that was there when I was there is still there. I think the most honest answers I've heard is some people have said it's still got some glitches and problems, but it's better than it was when I was there. But if I went back there at any point, that would be a condition, is that I'd have to be on that load board. It doesn't really benefit you any other way than you stay loaded better, because the planners don't seem to look for loads until you're empty. Whereas when you're on the load board, you can start looking 3 days early. Trucker Chris thinks I have a good heart. Well, maybe. I was supposed to see the cardiologist tomorrow, and I'm going to miss that doctor's appointment. And the reschedule, the soonest they could see me was in June. So they're trying to see if they can get me in sooner. But it's end of the month. I needed to be out here working. I didn't need to be in Lubbock going to the doctor. So I appreciate that. I do have it's not a heart monitor, but it's kind of like a deal that records my heart activity. I can show y'all that, maybe. Oh, no, I can't. Well, maybe. Let me fix something real quick. It's constantly. Let me turn the spotlight off. No, it's not going to let y'all see it. But it sends data there, and then I've got a key fob. I can hit a button if I think I'm having issues, and then my cardiologist can look at it. So that's pretty cool. Got a small spot on my chest that looks like a mosquito bite. P.U. Patel, heard they will be switching over to percentage pay at Swift. When I was there, they talked about it. They had like one account that was on percentage pay, but it was only like 55%. And I wouldn't be a fan of that. I'd want it to be 75 or 80% at least. But yeah, they had one account that was like 55%. And from what I was told at the time, that leadership did not want to go to percentage. Since then, they've had some changes in leadership, and who knows what they might or might not do now. And Trucker Chris, no, I was bragging on you. I was saying to you, have a kind heart. I know, I was just giving you a hard time. I'll tell you this about Trucker Chris, too. I think he knows every single person in Little Rock. I was teasing him when we was there. We were having breakfast somewhere, and I told him, I said, you should run for mayor. And he said, why's that? I said, everybody here knows you. And I'm not kidding. Every place we went, everybody in there knew him and knew him well. I've never been around somebody that was as locally popular as what he was. It's true, man. He's laughing, but it's true. He knows everybody in Little Rock. All right, I'm going to sit here for just a second, because every time I think we're done, a bunch of comments come through. If not, I'll start the 4-hour drive. Maybe there's a truck blocking everything. All right, you guys, let's save some for later. Hopefully I'll be back on here tomorrow night at 5 Central Time. Y'all take care. Thanks for stopping by. We'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.